Have you ever felt that subtle nudge, that fleeting whisper in your day, like the universe, or maybe just yourself, is trying to catch your attention? There are moments when life offers us signs, small illuminations, almost like another version of ourselves reaching across the noise to say, notice this. This matters. These signs aren't always loud. They're in the pauses, the repeated numbers, the songs that seem to appear exactly when you need them, the coincidences that make you pause and tilt your head in curiosity. They are gentle, yet they hold the weight of something vast, something familiar. We often dismiss them as luck or chance, or overactive imagination. But what if they're echoes from a deeper place within us? What if, beneath the layers of fear, distraction, and doubt, there's another self, a wiser, quieter self, that is guiding, nudging, reminding us of the path we are meant to walk? These signs are often disguised. They come as intuition, as dreams that linger, as conversations that leave you unsettled, in a way that feels important. They arrive in the moments you least expect but most need. And when you begin to notice, truly notice, the pattern of these subtle messages, something shifts. Life feels less like chaos and more like a conversation with yourself across time, across space, across the threads of your own being. You start to trust the inexplicable. You start to feel seen, even when no one else seems to notice. It's a quiet reassurance, a gentle reminder that you are on your own journey, and yet never truly alone. What is beautiful about these signs is that they remind us of our own resilience, our own intuition, our own innate knowing. There is a language in life that isn't spoken but felt. The more you listen, the more you understand that the messages you receive are not random. They are carefully curated, designed to teach, to redirect, to heal, and to awaken. Each one carries the whisper of another you, urging you to pay attention, to step forward, to trust your own inner compass. So allow yourself to see these signs, sit with them, question them, follow them. And in doing so, you may discover that the journey you are on isn't just shaped by the world outside, but by the quiet, insistent, and loving voice of yourself guiding you from within. There's a part of you that knows what to do, even when the mind is confused, even when the heart hesitates. The signs are there to remind you of that truth, to remind you that you are capable, worthy, and deeply seen, even in the silence. Life has a way of speaking to us when we least expect it, often through whispers that are easy to overlook if we are not paying close attention. These signs are not always obvious, and they do not arrive with fanfare or dramatic gestures. Sometimes they appear as small and almost imperceptible nudges, an unusual coincidence, a phrase in a song that resonates deeply, or a fleeting thought that refuses to leave your mind. These moments carry a subtle power, a quiet insistence that something within you is trying to be acknowledged. It is as though there is another layer of yourself, a deeper and wiser self, that reaches out in ways that the ordinary mind might dismiss. When you begin to notice these signs, a new awareness emerges. You start to see patterns where before there was only randomness. You begin to understand that life is not simply a series of accidents, but a conversation, a series of gentle communications that invite you to slow down and listen. These signs may appear in nature, in people you encounter, or even in moments of silence where your thoughts align with an unexpected clarity. Each sign carries a message, a hint of guidance, and a way to redirect your attention toward something significant. They are reminders that beneath the surface of daily life, there is an intelligence that is attuned to your journey, urging you to recognize the steps you need to take. Trusting these signs requires patience and sensitivity. It requires letting go of the need to control or fully understand everything that comes your way. The signs are not meant to provide all the answers. They are meant to awaken awareness and cultivate a dialogue between your conscious mind and the deeper knowing that resides within. By observing, reflecting, and honoring these subtle communications, you allow a greater sense of alignment to enter your life. You begin to notice that your decisions, your actions, and even your dreams are not isolated events, but part of a larger pattern of guidance. As this awareness grows, you realize that life itself becomes a teacher, and every encounter, every moment, carries potential insight. You learn to trust the intuition that arises from within, to act upon the quiet urgings that seem to come from somewhere beyond immediate comprehension. This process fosters a profound connection with yourself, a recognition that the guidance you seek externally often originates internally, and that the more attuned you become to these signs, the more capable you are of navigating your path with clarity, purpose, and grace. Paying attention to the subtle signs that life presents is a practice that transforms the way you move through the world. When you begin to notice the small nudges, the coincidences that feel more like messages than chance, you start to develop a heightened sensitivity to your own inner guidance. These signs are often quiet, almost imperceptible, but they carry a depth of meaning that can shift your perspective and inform your choices. By learning to observe them without judgment or immediate dismissal, you cultivate a trust in your own intuition, a sense of knowing that grows stronger each time you honor what arises within you. Intuition is not something that arrives fully formed. It is a skill, a muscle that strengthens with attention and practice. Each time you pause to acknowledge a sign, a lingering thought, a recurring dream, a pattern in your experiences, you reinforce your connection to the part of yourself that perceives beyond the surface. You start to notice that the more you trust these internal cues, the more clarity you experience in decision making and in navigating the uncertainties of life. The practice of noticing is an invitation to slow down, to step out of autopilot, and to engage with the world in a way that is conscious and deliberate. When you develop this sensitivity, you begin to recognize that signs are not random. They are intentional prompts that guide you toward choices aligned with your highest good. They teach you patience, discernment, and the subtle art of listening to the spaces between your thoughts. Each sign, no matter how small, holds an opportunity to deepen your awareness and refine your capacity to respond to life's unfolding. Over time, you notice a shift in how you perceive challenges and opportunities. You become more attuned to the rhythms of your own mind and heart and less dependent on external validation or certainty. As this trust in your intuition grows, life begins to feel less like a series of unpredictable events and more like a coherent conversation, a dialogue between your conscious self and the deeper wisdom that resides within. You learn to recognize when to act, when to wait, and when to reflect, guided not by fear or impulse, but by the quiet inner voice that speaks through these signs. The more you engage with this practice, the more empowered you feel to navigate your path with confidence, clarity, and authenticity. And the more you understand that the guidance you seek is always available if you are willing to see it, hear it, and respond. Observing the signs that life presents is an invitation to cultivate a deeper awareness and strengthen the trust you have in your own inner guidance. When you learn to pay attention to the subtle messages that appear in everyday experiences, a repeated word, a chance encounter, a sudden thought that lingers, you begin to recognize the wisdom that resides within you. These signs are not always obvious or dramatic. Often they are quiet, almost imperceptible cues that point you toward alignment with your true self. By noticing them, reflecting on their meaning, and allowing them to inform your choices, you develop a sensitivity to the unseen currents that influence your life. Trusting intuition requires a willingness to slow down and listen, to step out of habitual thinking and allow space for insight to emerge. Each sign you honor, each moment you pause to consider its significance, strengthens your connection to your deeper self. You start to see patterns and synchronicities that were previously invisible. Learning to interpret the language of life that is expressed not through words but through feelings, experiences, and subtle coincidences. As this awareness grows, you discover that intuition is not a mystical ability reserved for a few, but a natural capacity available to everyone who is willing to pay attention and trust what arises from within. Recognizing the messages and signs that surround you allows you to align more closely with your true purpose and the path that is meant for you. When you begin to notice the subtle hints that life provides, you start to see that every experience, every encounter, and every moment carries meaning beyond what appears on the surface. These signs often come disguised as coincidences, fleeting thoughts, or emotions that arise seemingly without reason, yet they carry the imprint of guidance from a deeper, a wiser part of yourself. By paying attention to them, you open the door to a richer, more conscious way of living, where your actions and choices are informed by insight rather than impulse or habit. Alignment with your true path begins with awareness. It requires cultivating the ability to perceive the patterns and messages that are woven into your daily life. When you respond to these signs with openness and reflection, you create a dialogue between your conscious mind and your inner wisdom. This dialogue fosters clarity, allowing you to distinguish between distractions and meaningful guidance. The more attuned you become to these messages, the more you realize that they are not random or trivial. They are intentional, carefully placed to help you navigate your journey and make choices that resonate with your authentic self. As you practice noticing and interpreting these signs, you also cultivate trust in yourself. You learn to rely on your intuition, to recognize the nudges that encourage you to take certain steps or pause in others. But life becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about moving in harmony with the subtle currents of guidance that flow through your experiences. This trust is empowering because it shifts your perspective from feeling at the mercy of circumstance to feeling connected to a deeper intelligence within yourself. Each sign reinforces the idea that you are capable of navigating challenges, making meaningful decisions, and moving forward with confidence. Understanding the significance of these messages transforms your relationship with life itself. You begin to see that purpose is not something distant or external, but something that unfolds naturally when you are attentive and responsive to the guidance available to you. Every moment becomes an opportunity to align with your higher self, to act in ways that reflect your true values and aspirations, and to navigate your path with intention. By embracing this awareness, you allow your life to flow in a manner that feels authentic, purposeful, and deeply connected to the essence of who you are. And you discover that the guidance you seek has always been within you. Patiently waiting for your attention, life constantly communicates with us in ways that are subtle yet profound, offering signs that guide, teach, and awaken the deeper parts of ourselves. By learning to notice and honor these messages, we cultivate a relationship with our own intuition, allowing it to inform our decisions and illuminate the path ahead. But the more we attune to these signs, the more we recognize that our journey is not random or accidental, but part of a larger, meaningful pattern that reflects our true purpose and inner wisdom. Embracing this awareness transforms the way we move through life, fostering clarity, confidence, and a sense of connection to something greater within ourselves. Each sign, no matter how small, is an invitation to trust, reflect, and act in alignment with our authentic self. By listening attentively and responding with intention, we open ourselves to a life guided not by chance, but by insight, purpose, and the quiet yet powerful guidance that comes from another, wiser part of who we are.